So chapter 4 is all about triangles. We're going to start to talk about triangles. And right now we're going to classify triangles. Now there's two different ways to classify triangles. You can classify them by their side lengths and also by their angle measures. So first let's talk about the categories for side length. The first kind of triangle is an equilateral triangle. An equilateral triangle has three congruent sides. Three congruent sides. So you can see from this picture that there are three little tick marks. That's showing you that each of these sides, AB, BC, and CA, have the same measure. That's an equilateral triangle. The next kind of triangle is an isosceles. An isosceles triangle has two congruent sides. Congruent sides. So you see here there's only two tick marks. That's showing you that those two sides are congruent, so that makes it an isosceles triangle. Finally, we have a scalene triangle, and that has no congruent sides. No congruent sides. If you look at the picture, it has one tick mark, two tick marks, three tick marks. None of the side lengths have the same number of tick marks. Therefore, none of the side lengths have the same length. So that makes it a scalene triangle. The next kind of way that we can classify triangles is using their angle measurements. So the first kind of triangle based on its angle measurement is a right triangle, and that has one right angle. One right angle. What does that look like? Well, it's going to look like this. You have two perpendicular sides. Remember, perpendicular means that they meet at a 90-degree angle. There you go, a right triangle. Two of the sides are perpendicular. The next kind of triangle is an obtuse triangle, and that has one obtuse angle. So you have one obtuse angle. It's going to look something like this, like a wide mouth. And they'll be connected. There we go. An obtuse angle. It has one obtuse angle. And just so you know, since it has one obtuse angle, the other two angles will be acute. So you're really just looking for that one obtuse angle. An acute triangle has three acute angles. So it's going to be made up of a triangle of sides with three acute angles. Just like that. Remember, acute means less than 90. Finally, an equiangular triangle. Now, just before when we had equilateral, meaning same or equal side lengths, now we have equiangular. That equiangular means equal angle measures. So an equiangular triangle has three congruent angles. Three congruent angles. So that's going to look a little bit something like this. I can't draw it exactly. But like that, it would be three perfectly congruent angle measurements. So it'll give you these tick marks. An equiangular triangle. So let's use this vocab to start to categorize a triangle like this. So I see from its side lengths that it has three different side lengths. So I go back and I look at my side length categories. So I know it's a scalene. And I look and it has three different angle measurements. One is right. So it's a scalene and it's a right triangle. We call this a right scalene triangle. Right scalene triangle. All right, this one. I look at its sides, and I see two congruent sides. So we know that it's going to be an isosceles. And I look and it has three different angle measurements, and they're all acute. So that's going to be an acute isosceles triangle. Acute isosceles triangle. Finally, I have this one. It has three different angle side measurements. So that means that it's a scalene. And it has 3 different angle measurements, and they're all acute. So that's going to be an acute scalene triangle. An acute scalene triangle. All right, now you give it a try.